Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
You gotta start somewhere, sister. You gotta start somewhere. Just finishing up a training session with my boxing coach, Rob. And shout out to Victoria Martial Arts and Rob there. And I've been off training for 10 days. So I've been in Calgary this past week. You've been listening to the podcast with my eldest son, Tyson. We were doing a program called the Davis Method to really help him to learn some tools on how to best work with his dyslexic brain, since he's having lots of challenges with reading and focus and all sorts of stuff like that. And so there's two stories I want to share about this. So one is, just coming out of boxing right now, and after being 10 days off and being really run down, like I had a fever and sore throat and coughing up all sorts of phlegm and just not feeling myself. I rarely get sick. And this shit happens to be one time, just as we're heading to Calgary. So be it. And we're away from routine. So I'm getting back to it. I'm not 100% by any means, but I'm like, that's it. I'm getting back to training because I got to start somewhere, right? I'm not going to wait until I'm like, let me wait until I've stopped coughing. Let me wait until, I'm feeling 100% better. Because if I wait until that, there will actually be more time it takes for me to get back to my routine again. It'll take longer time for me to get my conditioning back. And I got to tell you, like after 10 days off, and again, whatever my body's been working through, my conditioning feels like shit. Like I felt tired, my body kind of hurt doing it, like I'm just not feeling the best. But it was good. It was good to get back. It was good to sweat. I did what I could. I didn't push it like too hard. I pushed it as hard as I could. I listened to my body. But yet I knew, not only did I like mentally, am I just going like, oh my God, if I don't have a chance to get into the gym again, like I'm going to lose my mind. It's crazy, right? Like I've so fallen in love with fighting, and I've been training for the last over a year now. And it's like even just walking in the gym, like the smell of it, which basically smells like dirty socks. Like it smells like a gym, right? It's a boxing gym. It's old school, but the smell is just like, I'm home. I'm home. And so, it was just a really good lesson for me today of like, okay, I know it's most likely going to suck. I'm not going to put a lot of energy into that. I'm not going to go, this is, create big stories and all that kind of stuff about it. It's just, as I'm there, I'm like, yeah, this just pretty sucks today. I'm not feeling my same power and speed, but it's like, it's okay. I got to start somewhere. So it reminded me also too with Tyson this last week, right? And so here's what happens. As a quick synopsis, the Davis Method was developed by a guy named Ron Davis, who was dyslexic himself, but yet he was an engineer. He had several degrees. Like, he's a brilliant guy, but like he could not read. And he was like, I got to figure this shit out. Like, this is a guy who problem solves for a living. And he's like, why can't I figure this out? He had managed to like be illiterate, but to do all these different things, right? And so he figured it out. And one thing that he figured out was that, number one, about 20% of the population has a dyslexic brain. They see the world in pictures and images. So like, let's say, for example, unless you are the one in five, because that's how high it is, 1 in 5. And you don't have to be like diagnosed with dyslexia. Like it's just, you'll start to see, let's just call them signs and symptoms, behaviors, that kind of thing, right? So what'll happen is for a dyslexic, if they see the word cat, you and I might just see, because we know the word cat, C-A-T, cat, right? They're going to actually see an image of that in their head. So they see a picture of a cat. What happens is that there's 200 and so trigger words, which are words that don't have any picture attached to them. Always, at, and, the, or, through, between, right? Those kinds of words. That when a dyslexic brain sees that, they literally don't even see the word. Or it basically puts them in a disorientation. So when they're disoriented, they can feel dizzy. They can have it where, yes, the letters flip. A lot of people think of dyslexic, they just flip the letters. Well, that can be a piece of it. That's not the only thing. They can see the letters move. Their brain perceives it that way. They literally will see it that way. And this is what they see and even what they hear. And so when I started to understand this, and my good friend Jill had her 2 girls that are dyslexic, and I think one of them also is like ADD, ADHD. It's kind of similar techniques that's used. But, because also, though, with the dyslexic brain, they have this vivid imagination. Like, I mean, people like Walt Disney is considered to have been dyslexic. Richard Branson, they think people like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, like all these big thinkers. And so you don't want to shut off that part of it, right? That's the piece of dyslexia that's like, this is why his book is actually called The Gift of Dyslexia, Ron Davis's book. And so because it's a fucking gift. Like, Tyson is such a creative thinker, but yet this is what happens when he's trying to learn and sit down. They teach them a traditional way of learning to read. It just doesn't work for him. And so we're getting stuff from the teachers, always reading far below his grade level, but he won't sit still. And, he makes, his behaviors and stuff. And I'm like, yeah. I go, here's the deal. His behavioral stuff, I'm telling you, a big piece of it is tied in because he gets disoriented. And so he doesn't recognize it up until now. We've gone through the program and he has that awareness of it. And so it's learning different tools of him being able to be aware of when he gets disoriented and the tools that he can now use to help him with that. And then there's all sorts of other stuff. I won't go kind of way into it. But what happened with Tyson is, so he kind of that week, by the end of the week, he's with one facilitator, one teacher. Her name is Stacy at Rocky Point Academy in Calgary. Lovely couple, her and her husband, Larry, so good. My boy Tyson is a strong-willed kid. No doubt about it. Stacy's worked with lots of kids and adults, by the way, that go through this program as well. And she's like, yeah, he's the most strong-willed kid I've ever worked with. I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. That is my boy. It's what it is. It's who he is, right? And so by the end of the week, he was reading up to his grade level. He was reading at a grade 2 level. We're like, great. But here's the deal. So the work continues when you get home, right? And there's all sorts of things that you do with molding clay, and they create a picture of the word. So they have that. They take the word and they put it into they make a clay drawing of what something like through would look like, right? An example of it. And so they have that mental picture. So they're creating images in their mind of words that don't have a natural image. It's brilliant. And anyways, I could go on because the program is fascinating and brilliant and so fucking effective. And so Tyson, he's resistant now to continue the work, even though we set up agreements and it was, his choice, and I'm going to do this on this day. And there's different things that they do that really helps to be able to not just learn the words, but be able to recognize when the disorientation comes about in a way of really changing the neurology of the brain. Again, just amazing work. And so he's been like, well, I've already done some of it. Or I don't really want to read. Or it's too hard for me, Mommy. And so that the conversation I've often had with Tyson, I'm like, buddy, you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere, right? We often think that we have to have everything perfect before we make a move, right? When people will say to me, let me rephrase that, when women say to me, hey, you know what? I really want this marriage that you speak of, connection, passion, respect, really creating empire with our businesses, creating these, amazing family and showing our children and all of this. But, my God, I don't even know who the fuck I am anymore. And we've lost connection. And so what are we going to do? And it's you got to start somewhere. Start sending him a daily text message of what you love, honor, or appreciate about him. People go oh, that's so, whatever. Fine, I'll do it. And they start to see things, right? And then from there, you can add in the date nights. And then from there, you add in the, being so fucking honest and clear about what you want in the marriage and how you want him to show up. And you ask him how he needs you to show up for him and what you want to create together in your marriage. And it unfolds from there, right? And it adds on. Because you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. So here's your more tip for today. What is it right now that you are stalling doing because you think you have to have everything figured out? When really, all you got to do is take one step. You just have to take the first step, right? You have to, and actually I'll link up in the show notes one of the episodes which I talked about this, an aspect of this, which is to respect the progression. Respect the progression. I always found it funny when I was CrossFitting, when I used to do CrossFit, and people would come to the gym for the first time, they'd be like, oh man, you're doing those double unders right away, or oh, you can lift all this heavy stuff, or oh, how do you get that snatch or a clean, and Olympic moves, all this kind of stuff, and it's like, dude, like, I've been doing this for years. You got to start somewhere. People would start lifting with a dowel, like a broomstick. And you start skipping doing a single before you do a double, or you just do one single. Like, you have to start somewhere. So the more tip, again, is this: what is it for you in your life where you are not respecting the progression, where you have to be willing to start somewhere, to take one step? Is it something with fitness, right? Or new skill? I mean, Jesus, when I started boxing, it was like, oh my God, it was so, and it's a continual, by the way, learning. But it was like, man, I felt like stupid. Like, I can't get this shit. And oh my God, I got to like think about stuff and then do it physically in my body and then not get frustrated because it's not coming together. And then I got to work on power and then speed. And then my conditioning was like on and on and on, right? But I had to start somewhere. So is it with something when it relates to fitness of your body? Is it in relation to your marriage, like I spoke of before? Is it something with your kids, like with parenting? Or is it something your business or work? Like, you just have to start somewhere. So, just identify first as part of this more tip, like what is that? What is the area that you're delaying and stalling on because you think you have to have it all worked out, when really all you have to do is take the first step. You have to start somewhere. And the second piece of that is, what is the one step you can take in the next 24 hours to begin to master this, to begin the process of doing this, to just start somewhere? And journal both of these down. And guess what? I'm going to give you a journal for free. You've been hearing me talk about this in the podcast. You've been listening for a while. I've now sent out, by the end of this week, it's well over 300 journals to 12 to 14 countries around the world over the last couple months. And I send this to you for free and some other really cool women wanting more swag. All you do is take care of the small amount of shipping, and the rest is on me, sister. So head over right now to drkarenosborn.com/free journal to grab yours, and I'll send that to you in the next couple weeks. If you're listening on the show notes, by the way, on your phone, just click on the, if you're on an iPhone, I have no idea if you're on other phones, so just so you know, whenever you guys talk about your Samsungs, all I hear is blah, blah, blah. I don't even hear it. I'm an Apple snob. I will only be Apple and Mac. Like, that's it. I've decided, unless something happens and Apple blows up or they stop making good products. But yes, if you're on an iPhone, click the I, and that'll bring up the show notes. And then you can just click on the link and order it from there. Super easy. The order form will take you like a minute. So, free journal. I want you to also go ahead and join the Women Want More Experience Facebook group. So this is a new Facebook group that I started up a couple months ago, and I throw journal prompts, by the way, in there 2-3 times a week. I've done a couple trainings for free, and you get to be part of over 1,000, it's like 1,100 women now that are like you, right? That want power, more areas of life. They're like, what is this life of more? I want it. So you get to be around other women that are like you. Okay. In addition, if you're not getting the regular Women Wanting More newsletter, holy shit, a lot of you are not, head over right now to drkarenosborn.com, drkarenosborn.com. Enter in your email. When you see the big picture of me, when you come in, it'll be on your left-hand side. And I'm also going to say the More For Action Guide, which will really teach you how to start your day in power. And that's a video training that I sent to you for free. So that's over at drkarenosborn.com. And that way, too, you can get on the Women Wanting More VIP access list. So I will talk to you in the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.